Hi, World Community of Geological Survey team. We would be presenting the critical mineral potentiality and its importance for India. We are from Geological Survey of India. Uh, the talk is presented by three geoscientists. The overview, criticality of RE potentiality will be presented by me. I'll continue with the talk and then it will be taken up by Dr. M.L. Dora. He'll be speaking on the critical minerals associated with mafic ultramafic system and later all other critical minerals and the conclusion will be done by Dr. Sandeep Roy. There were many risk assessment carried out in the country. CEEW, Indian Council of Energy, Environmental and Water, they took the economic importance, supply aspect, geopolitical aspects, and environmental aspects together. And out of 49 non-fuel minerals, 12 minerals were found critical for Indian domestic manufacturing industry. Again, Institute of Defense Studies and Analysis, India, they also conducted studies in 2014. The various parameters like scarcity, production concentration, reserve distribution, recycling rate, they were all taken and given different weightages and rankings. With that study, the strategic minerals, especially the cobalt, germanium, molybdenum, tin, lithium, fluorine, they all got the risk factor more than 3 or more than 3 out of 4. So the strategic minerals are definitely critical for our country. Again, when we look at the critical mineral list of US, European Union, Japan, and Australian geological potential, definitely almost all the minerals which are critical and listed for these countries are critical for our country. However, we have some better potentiality of chromium as well as manganese, and we have moderate potentiality for graphite, magnesium. Even in case of light rare earth element, we have some moderate geological potentiality. If we look at the demand of rare earth elements, mostly for magnets to run the wind turbines, hybrid vehicles, LED, magnesium industry, grain refinement and steel industry, screens and brightness and for making computers and also the other magnets, there's a huge demand by 2030 in our country. So always there will be a growing demand for RE in the country. When we look at the geological association of REs in our country, they are always they are associated with carbonatites, pegmatites, the hydrothermal system, cyanides, metasomatic albitides, albitide zones, especially the peralkaline complexes, and we do have secondary deposits. They are with alluvial, and colluvial, as well as the big sand minerals, and in ion absorption clays, laterites, and bauxitic crusts. Almost the global association we can see in our country, we do have association with all the. When we see the broad geological setup, the southern Indian tectonic domain is with three cratons, Dharwar, Bastar, and Singhbum, and the northern Indian tectonic domain is with Aravalli and Bundelkhand. These two cratonic segments of our country are sutured almost east-north, east trending suture zone, central Indian suture zone. In India, the carbonated clusters are associated in the southern granulate belt here. And the another cluster we can see here, it is the western part of the central Indian suture zone. And also there are some good number of carbonatites in the southern part of the Aravalli Craton. And some of the clusters of carbonatites are associated with the Shillong Plateau in the northeastern part of our country. Yes, they have a significant amount of RE concentration. Over the gravity map, when we look at the primary RE bearing rocks as well as the cratonic boundaries and the suture zone, yes, definitely all these cratonic masses and the suture zones and mobile beds, they coincide with the gravity signal. When we connect the primary carbon RE bearing carbonates, clusters, and the fluvial system. There are many small fluvial systems. They are mostly associated with the populated carbonate bodies. And a large fluvial system, it is expected to be linked with the large tectonic scale shear zone, Singhbum shear zone, and also Purulia shear zone. So definitely there is a linkage of secondary dispersion pattern and secondary concentration of Re with the primary Re bearing bodies. And also the coastline, entire east coast as well as some part of west coast, we have monazite beach pleasures, the LRE rich monazites. They are connected with the fluvial system, as almost all the rivers in the peninsular India, they flow from west to east. So the primary RE concentration connected with the fluvial system, again they are connected with the beach pleasures. These are the some important places in the southern India along the shoreline. We have good amount of concentration of REs. In the western India, there is a long 320-kilometer albitite zone, and also in the eastern India, there is a Purulia and Singhbum shear zone. These two zones having a IOCG setup. These two are the hotspot areas in the coming years for the country to look for RE deposits. In the western India, there are a cluster of per-alkaline igneous rocks. And also, what we see is they are likely to continue below the transported cover. These areas are also going to be future targets for RE in the country. Undercover. There are a good amount of efforts by Geological Survey of India by mounting good number of RE exploration projects. In the year 1920, about 48 mineral exploration. As we look at the RE production, globally, the highest production was 240,000 tons per year based on USGS mineral commodity data. And also, the Indian production, the highest production was about 3,000 tons per year, the rare earth oxide, and commonly it is about nearly 2,000. Many prospects have been identified and developed by Geological Survey of India in eastern part of our country, southern part of our country, as well as in the western part. Atomic Mineral Division also substantially estimated the resources of RE in the country.
Thank you. Jire was already discussed about RE potential of India. Now I am going to discuss about critical mineral associated with mafic ultramafic mineral system. In general, mafic ultramafic rocks occur in different stratigraphic level under wide tectonic domain across the globe. Geological Survey of India has established 20 mafic ultramafic complex in the country, basically in shield, Indian shield and mobile belts, which share common geology and metallurgy with ancient shields of Australia, Brazil and South Africa. These mafic ultramafic rocks have been characterized as layered complexes, ophiolites and Alaskan type based on their typical geology and geochemical characteristics. These mafic ultramafic rocks host major critical minerals like Pg, nickel, vanadium and minor critical minerals like cobalt, bismuth, selenium, tellurides. Critical minerals from mafic ultramafic intrusions in Indian seals are mainly confined to tight geological timescale, that is Paleo to Neoarchean age. Geographically, they confine to Dharwar Craton, Bastar Craton, Singhbum and southern terrain. Geological Survey of India has done extensive exploration activity on these critical minerals like nickel, cobalt, Pg. During last 32 years, many good deposits were discovered. In total, 16.3 million ton Pg resource has estimated from 3 deposits. They are confined to Bowlanwasai in Singhbum Cratons, Sitambudi andesite complex in southern granulates, and vanadium titanium Pg mineralization in western Dharwar Cratons. Pg resource potentiality in Indian context, they are moderate. Few occurrences, sporadic occurrence reported from Bastar, Bundelkhand, as well as southern granulate terrain. Nickel cobalt play a vital role in green energy. Nickel cobalt resource potentiality in India are low. Important occurrences are reported from overburden subchromite deposit in Sukinda Valley, Singhbum Craton. Nickel cobalt also occurs in Singhbum copper belt in form of sulfides. Few reported occurrences reported from Karnataka, Rajasthan and Kerala. Other nickel cobalt reported from Nagaland affiliates. Vanadium is also one of the important minerals which resource is low. Reported from Noace ultramafic complex, stratiform vanadium ferrostatin magnetite layered gabbro-andesite complex from Western Tharwar Craton, Singhbhum Craton. Vanadium titan mineralization also reported from Bastar Craton. Besides these mafic ultramafic rocks, vanadium has been significantly reported from graphite deposit, where Geological Survey of India has reported 3.2 million ton in Bethel belt within Central Indian Tectonic Zone. Great. Tellurium, selenium, bismuth is another group of important critical minerals which occurrence and its potentiality is low in Indian context. The primarily economic bismuth telluride deposits are not yet discovered in country. However, they reported as a byproduct from lead and orogenic gold deposits. There are few known occurrences of nickel bismuth tellurides reported from Bastar Craton as well as Singhbhum Cratons. India is having potential area for locating new critical mineral resource where deep probe is being planned in those domains. Terrain that require closer look: Deccan Volcanic Province for nickel PG systems, Himalayan terrain for vanadium resource, undifferentiated and dismembered mafic ultramafic region for nickel PG cobalt resources, and laterite provinces for nickel cobalt resources. Cobalt and nickel resources. Challenges of critical mineral in mafic ultramafic system is huge due to its low crustal abundances and peculiar geochemical characteristics. Their geological milieu, favorable geological milieu in India, cratonic part, but yet to discover major deposit like Bushveld, Norlisk, Sudbury, and Steelwood complex of USA. Exploration strategy simple, adapting yet to adopt the mineral system approach model. High precision analytical protocols in a very nascent stage, which is very important for analyzing these critical minerals. Domain expertise is there, but there is a scope for further improvement through national and international collaboration. Mineral processing and beneficiation ecosystem play a vital role in characterizing these critical minerals, which is in pilot scale and laboratory scale, yet to develop commercial scale like other advanced countries. Genetic model is vital for establishing exploration strategy of these critical minerals, which is yet to. GSI is having strong geoscience baselines database, a new dense ground gravity and magnetic data, and high resolution geophysical data clubbed with NGCM data further help in revealing many new mafic ultramafic complex. Geochronology studies followed by conventional latest stable and radiogenic acid study would help give more information, source and metallurgy of many critical minerals. Trace element geochemistry by laser ICP studies of magnetite and pyrite would help in understanding these scarce mineral genesis, geodynamics, and characterization of host rock. These will help in creation of value chain to take up the project of Honorable PM's Make in India projects.
Thank you, Dr. Dora. Now I'll take up the rest of the strategic and critical mineral pertaining to our country. One by one. First is the case of molybdenum. Molybdenum in India occurs in the cratonic areas, and they are associated with the porphyry systems, and they are also associated with the pegmatites and the applied quartz veins of the late intrusives within the craton as well as in the mobile belt. So the resource potential of India is rather low, and they are basically byproducts of the base metal deposits of the cratonic areas. And routine R&D as well as some innovative technologies are required for further exploration. In tin, we have a porphyry and disseminated type of systems in contact metamorphic zones and late metamorphic intrusives. In Dharwar, Bastar, and in the other cratonic areas, we see the lot of prospects of tin as well as tungsten. Here also the India's geological potential is low, and these are all critical mineral as far as the country is concerned. We come to tungsten. In tungsten, the mineral system we can see are skarn vein type, porphyry and disseminated byproducts. We are again confined to the four cratonic areas of the Bastar, Dharwar and the mobile belts as well adjoining the Aravalli supergroup. And in here also the challenges are basically research oriented. Requirement of the country is there, but the potential at present is low. We come to the copper. We have the hydrothermal copper system, the VMS system, the porphyry type of copper system in Malanjkhand, and the same sort of geological setting we get throughout the world. We get this in the mobile belts, most of the places in Rajasthan, in Singhbhum area, and in Karnataka as well as in the central area. The working mines are from the government side is Hindustan Copper Limited, having the working mines in Rajasthan and Singhbhum, as well as we have got some one or two big players, big major industries which also have their operating mines in the country. Come to gold. Gold is mined from ages in the 2000 BC, 3000 BC in India. However, the present working mine is in the classic greenstone belt terrain of Karnataka, where it is organic gold in Siarjan hosted within the greenstone belt in Hatti gold mines. This belt, Hatti, Ramagiri, and Kolar, had been in production through century, but now the production of India is quite low as per the domestic requirement. Therefore, we do have to import a lot of gold from outside. Coming to graphite, it's becoming with time it is becoming a major strategic and critical mineral. Our India's geological potential is rather moderate, and the mineral system remains within the hydrothermal, epithermal or syngenetic or contact metamorphism, and we are actually confined to the mobile belts we are adjoining the cratons for the graphite mineralization. We come to the fertilizers. As India is still a predominantly agriculture based country, where majority of the population is engaged in agriculture, and we have a vast available land also with the Indo-Gangetic plains and others for huge agriculture. So fertilizer always is in demand, and it is always a strategic mineral for us. And we are import dependent because we are not able to meet the country's need of fertilizers. We do have some sedimentary basins where we have this evaporite and biogenic type of fertilizers, and there are this, exploration potential as well as the opportunities, and the exploration is going on in fertilizer sector as well. Coming to gallium, it is coming as a additional product within the bauxites, which are particularly developed on the lateritic capping of basalts in the country. So we have a lot of potentials because we have got a lot of bauxites available in the country. So the gallium, India's geological potential, even if it is low now, but it has got tremendous scope of improvement. And gallium, as we know, is fast becoming very important in the semiconductor, Blu-ray technologies and solar panels and other sectors. So this is basically critical mineral for the country. So now coming to the challenges and scope. Today's the rapid development of urbanization in industry and industrialization has triggered a continuously increasing demand for mineral resources. Therefore, in order to satisfy this demand, India has furthered its exploration strategies in evaluation of mineral resources. Now, understanding of accretionary history and geodynamic evolution of the individual cratons and their time frame of amalgamation into the Greater Indian Shield framework is continuously evolving. Therefore, it is important to initiate multidisciplinary research programs like geophysical, geochemical, geochronological isotopes in key sectors in cratons and adjoining mobile belts to understand the metallurgy in space and time properly. The present day exploration should be based on genetic model of ore forming processes. The result of such exploration programs should always address many questions related to national and global needs of critical minerals. Here, we as a group and an organization would like to avail of this opportunity to thank the World Geological Forum on critical minerals. Thank you once again.